In this video, we're going to compare the WildAss seat cushion to the butt buffer. Sounds like fun, right? Let's get into it. It's a little backstory here. We got these two limiteds and we've been riding with the seats thinking, hey, these seats are actually pretty comfortable. They put on these, much unlike my last bike where the seat was horribly uncomfortable. So I went with a very nice custom seat. But custom seats are expensive, and these seats being already heated and fairly comfortable, we thought, well, what about just for long hauls? Let's try some cushions and see how much they help. So I initially purchased the butt buffer from the law-abiding biker store. I think I mentioned it on a prior video. And my wife recently picked up the WildAss seat cushion, the neoprene version, and we're going to try them both out. So let's talk a little bit about the features of each of them, and then we're heading for Road America over the next few days. So we're going to get some good saddle time across the state of Wisconsin, kind of switching up on them and comparing notes on what we think. And in the end, we'll summarize all that for you and let you know what we thought of these two cushions. So first up on my bike, we have the butt buffer. The butt buffer is a viscoelastic polymer is what's inside of it. Obviously with a cover on it. And these were originally created for hospital use, to the material at least, to help with bed sores in patients. So the intent is to reduce pressure points. So according to the butt buffer website, the dry polymer in the butt buffer never fully compresses. This gives uncompromised balance to your ride and stability while eliminating pressure points that develop over long rides. Also from their website, the butt buffer will not freeze, it will not leak, it's easily maintained, it's unaffected by water and hydrocarbon oils, does not support bacteria, is fire rated as self-extinguishing, does not absorb fluids, is fungus resistant, and always retains its original shape. Impressive list of stuff, but how does it perform? So there's a couple different ways you can attach the butt buffer to your seat. One is just these clips, and that works pretty good for mine, where I can just pull them down over the edge of the seat and clip them, and it just stays there very snugly. At the same time, that strap can also go all the way under the seat. This is just Velcro, comes apart. And then in some cases, people just set them on the seat, and they pretty much sit there and do not move. So I'd say those are probably the three primary ways to fasten it. I like it fastened with the clips. It just gives a little bit more stability. And at the same time, when we pull in somewhere, I can take it off and throw it in the trunk and not worry about it walking off. Not like that. I don't think that's too big a risk, but especially overnight at hotels or whatever, right? These are a little spendy. I think I paid around $125 for the butt buffer. And the WildAss seat cushion, the neoprene version, which is their most premium version, we'll talk about in a minute, was I think $260. So pretty good price difference between them. On this hand, we have the WildAss seat cushion. This one differs from the butt buffer. Instead of being elastic polymer, a viscoelastic polymer, it's a set of neoprene chambers that are filled with air, and you can fill them with varying amounts of air through a valve stem that's on the inside of this nicely constructed cover to help reduce pressure points. So again, this allows for constant transfer of air between the cells that are in here. We'll show you those in just a minute. Helps to reduce shock and vibration. The airflow between the cells helps reduce heat and moisture. So a lot of similar claims to the butt buffer, just a different way of going about it. If I pull back the cover on the WildAss seat cushion, you can see the neoprene chambers in here that you would think you might fill with air. Actually, this is pretty close to the proper amount of inflation. You don't want much air in there. When you sit on them and compress, the air can move between the various chambers. There's still space between them, and that's about right for what it is. We've played with more or less air in there, but that's kind of what you want it to look like. Seems a little bit odd, right? You would think you would want more air in those chambers, but you actually don't. So still kind of playing with it to get it optimized, but so far that's where my wife likes it set up. So we're going to put these to the real world test. We're going to take off for Road America. We're probably going to put on 800 miles probably over the next 5 days, and we're going to switch up riding them, kind of swapping them back and forth between our bikes to see what each of us thinks. And in the end, both my wife and I will rate these and we'll score them and let you know what we think.
not too long ago, Greg went through the butt buffer and the WildAss comparisons. He just did the logistics of them, let's say. Also mentioned to you that we would be riding with them when we went over to Road America. Needless to say, we got back a couple weeks ago, and now we're going to finish the report on these two cushions.
Well, who needs me anymore? You
Yeah,
got this
right?
covered, right?
Here we
It's
are.
all good. So, yeah, as she said, we did some riding with both of them, kind of swapped up here and there going back. And as previously mentioned, we got a number of categories we're going to go over here. So, we're going to talk a little bit about the materials and craftsmanship, the ease of use, just taking them on and off the bike, just the ease of use in general. We're going to talk about how much relief we felt or not from a comfort and pressure point perspective. We're going to talk about airflow and lack of what riders often refer to as swamp ass. And we're going to talk about the price and value, and then we're going to give a combined score. So as we go through this, we'll talk about how we scored this, but basically we kind of used a simple system of 1 to 5 stars, 5 being best in each case. And we each kind of gave them a score. And in the end, we tallied them up and have an overall score that we'll get to at the end of the video. So come on along as we review one category at a time. All right, so let's start with the materials and craftsmanship. We'll just kind of keep this part short because generally speaking, both have very good materials and craftsmanship. About the only thing we could come up with that we thought was a potential concern was the potential for snagging. Both the front and the back of the butt buffer, just because of the material, subject to snagging or tearing. That said, no issues with it whatsoever, holding it right in front of your face. What did you think of the WildAss seat cushion?
As far as the material, good. Again, just the top side probably would be the only concern. Could snag easily. And the back side is solid. I mean, there's nothing.
Yeah, it's rubbery, and that's what helps it stick to the seat so it doesn't
Correct,
slide
yeah.
around too.
Yes.
And just the rubbery backside of the butt buffer is, I don't know if it'll come through well on camera, but it seems like you could snag it on things, but it does stay in place very nicely on the seat. So overall, on a scale of 1 to 4 stars, I think we cut to the chase here. We both rated these a 4.
Yep.
And the only reason we didn't go 5 was this potential for snagging, but we thought they were basically equivalent and both having very good materials and craftsmanship. So the next category was ease of use. And in both cases, we thought they were a 5. They're both very easy to just set them on the seat and they sit there and don't move. There were some clips you can use. You can put straps underneath the seat in both cases if you really want them sort of locked into the seat. But from our use case, just setting them on the seat, they're good to go. And then when it comes time to stop, you can pick them off and throw them in a trunk if you're in an area where you're concerned that they might walk away. Generally speaking, we will say we've never really had any trouble with people touching our bikes or messing with things, but you know, sometimes when you're staying at a hotel overnight, it's kind of nice to be able to put things away and have that peace of mind. So across the board, we had 5s on this one for a score.
5s, yes.
So on to probably the most important category, comfort. Did we get relief from using these versus a bare seat? This is where we differed just a little bit. So let me tell you what I thought first of the butt buffer versus the WildAss. I thought they were very similar, to be honest. I didn't spend a lot of time messing around with the amount of air, but you know, we would ride for an hour, hour and a half, and then swap up, and I thought they were similar. I felt like I get some relief from both, but in my view, not a huge, it's not a game changer like with the bare seat, it's terrible, and with these, all your problems are solved. You know, after a couple hours in the saddle, you're still gonna be ready to get off. And I know mileage is gonna vary a lot from person to person, as it did for you. So what did you think of the comparison between the two? I was, by the way, a 4 on both of them. So what were you thinking?
I rated butt buffer as a 3 and WildAss as a 4. I agree with Greg on everything that he said. My biggest point, I guess, would be that you have the ability to adjust this one and the WildAss. And for me, because of the air pockets, chambers that the air flows to when you're on it. So if you're moving, for me on a trike, I probably move my body a little bit more than somebody on two wheels. And I found that there were pressure relief that I would typically feel and want to get off the bike sooner, looking for a stretch moment or whatever, being more fidgety in the seat. Not so with the WildAss.
All right, next category is airflow. What did you think? My favorite category, swamp ass. I love talking about swamp ass, or lack thereof.
Wonderful. Okay, I'm going with my choice again, WildAss. I felt more air through the seat, this nylon-y cover, and I think it's simply because you have pockets that hold the air, and between that are avenues that go between those pockets and the air shifting, and also definitely more air going through.
Yeah, and you had it scored 4
yeah,
versus a 3. And on the butt buffer, I was similar. I actually had the WildAss scored a 5 on this one and only a 3 on the butt buffer. And the reason I did it, I think when you're riding longer term, you do get some airflow through this just by the shape of the viscoelastic polymer in there and the cover on it.
Flat out seat.
It's better than a flat out seat, yeah. And I didn't really feel, let's call it the dampness, if you will. That said, the reason I gave it a 3 was if you leave this on the bike and it sits in the sunshine for a while and you come back out from lunch and you plop your butt down, it's hot and it's holding the heat for a while, my opinion. And that was the reasoning for me. So it's like definitely getting in the habit of taking it off, putting it in the shade or in a pack, so when you go to sit on it, it's not hot. So definitely the edge goes to the WildAss seat cushion in this category. So price and value. While we thought both gave us some value, the difference here really came down to price. It's about, at least for the upper grade neoprene version of the WildAss, there are cheaper versions of it, but as we compared it, it's essentially a $250 or $250 plus cushion to $125, so 2x the price. Did we get 2x the comfort relief? Generally speaking, we both thought no, and I think we rated them 4s and 3s in that way, and then 3s for the WildAss because of the higher price point, 4s for the butt buffer. Great.
2 other thoughts on that. I'm totally worth the more or the higher price, but I'm not remembering if we brought it up before, honey, or not. But there's different sizes and different material too. So while I chose the premium package, there are other options out there that it's built the same as far as the air chambers and the avenues in there.
Right, and if you're going to go spend the $1,000 on a custom seat versus $250 for a cushion, there's still a 4x price difference, generally speaking. There, so there's some value there over if you just don't want to pull the trigger on a full custom seat. All right, so let's wrap this up with our overall thoughts. What did you think? What was your summary of the WildAss seat cushion? Let's start there, and then I'll talk about the butt buffer.
In my opinion, the WildAss I prefer over the other here, butt buffer, excuse me, for the reasons of pressure point, airflow, just overall comfort for me.
And, we did say that one had the better airflow because of the chambers, and the adjustability certainly was a factor, right? So the different riders can put more or less air in there and then find a comfort level to suit them.
And I didn't give the overall point. What did I have? It has
you had a 4.1.
4.1.
So that was, the 4.1 was a combination of both of our scores for each of the cushions. So in the butt buffer's case, I came out at a 3.9, and the 3.9 was similar on comfort level in my point of view, although you definitely preferred the WildAss over. The reason this one I think got a little bit lower score overall was some of the heat retention, as we talked about, where it was sitting on the seat, and But that said, it definitely is some improvement over a stock seat. And if you're riding on the stock seat for, half a day and you start to get sore, and then maybe you bring this out in the second half of the day, it's going to give you some relief, right?
The variability too with this, or these, any type of free-wheeling cushions, you can take them off, put them back on, whatever works.
So anyway, that's our thoughts. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope that helps you with making a decision of whether you want to go with a seat cushion, a custom seat, and which one of these two might fit the bill, or maybe there's another brand out there. Hit us up in the comments if you're rocking another brand seat cushion and what you think of that. So catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.
Bye.